This is the City of Hope Hour on KHTS, and we like to do this once a month. We get to talk to some folks from the City of Hope. You may have heard them just a second ago on the Senior Hour, but we're going to go a little more in depth here and talk a little bit about the City of Hope. You can go to cityofhope.org to learn more, or you can go check them out, and you can set up a time to go visit them. They are right across the street from City Hall here in the Santa Clarita Valley, that big building right there on Valencia Boulevard, Citrus Avenue area as well. But we have Mandy Eggleseder, and I got it right off the bat.
You did.
Yay.
Only took me 3 months.
3 months.
And then we also have our doctor today, who we are going to highlight, Maria De Leon.
That's
And
right. You got it right.
You specialize in cervical cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, vulvar cancer, and vaginal cancer.
That's correct.
Okay. And
Female reproductive organs.
Female reproductive organs. You are the Assistant Clinical Professor, Division of Gynecological, Oncology, and Department of Surgery. But we'll get to you in just a bit. But I want to start with Mandy. And Mandy, let's talk about, for a refresher course on what is it that City of Hope offers here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
So in the Santa Clarita Valley, we have surgical oncology, medical oncology, and hematology. We have our infusion rooms. We have doctors that do breast surgery, general urology, and urologic oncology. We have Dr. De Leon, who does gynecological cancer. So we have a pretty comprehensive set of cancers that we treat. And the nice thing to have us in the community is that we are an extension of our campus in Duarte. So you have the convenience of getting the same quality care in Santa Clarita Valley without having to drive to campus for treatment.
Which is certainly helpful for Santa Clarita Valley residents. And your background, you kind of have a background in the area of cancer, though. You've kind of been in this realm for a while, right?
I have. Before working for City of Hope, I was with the American Cancer Society in Santa Clarita Valley. So I did a lot of fundraising for the Relay for Life, the Bark for Life events, and helping connect patients to support services that the American Cancer Society provides. And it's all full circle because we actually, City of Hope, just received a pretty big grant from the American Cancer Society for research. And
fantastic.
Yeah, it's something that I've always been passionate about, and I pursued this as a tribute to my stepfather who passed of bile duct cancer 11 years ago. So this is something that means a lot to me, and I want to be able to connect patients in our community to doctors like Dr. De Leon.
and you know, cancer is one of those things that everybody's affected by it. And whether you have a family member or you have it yourself, it's just one of those things that it's everybody gets affected by it. But one of the cool things about City of Hope also is the research that goes on there, and the doctors there just love research, and they love clinical trials, and they love trying to find the best way to serve the patients, and really, really great stuff that goes on. Again, go to cityofhope.org to learn more, or again, keep listening. We have Dr. De Leon. She is joining us in studio. We are highlighting her today, and again, you are the Assistant Clinical Professor, Division of Gynecologic Oncology, Department of Surgery.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay, I got it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your background. What is, where are you from? Where did you go to school? All of that fun stuff.
All right. I grew up in the Philippines, actually.
Okay, all right.
And then
I
moved
am
here.
a big fan of pancit.
Oh, yes.
I love me some pancit and some chicken adobo.
Ooh,
I'm
yummy.
a big fan. Big fan.
Yeah,
So,
family members?
no, one of my friends' wives.
I see. You know, we love
actually,
to
several of
cook.
my friends' wives. But yeah, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I came here when I was a teenager. I was about 14 or 15. And then we actually moved to the Bay Area. So I was in the Bay. And then how did I found myself here in South? I went to medical school at UCLA.
Oh, okay.
So
I've never heard of it. What is that?
That's right. Are you a Trojan?
No, I am not. We have a couple Trojan fans in the back, but no, I am a UCLA fan. My grandfather tried to go to UCLA in the 50s, but he wanted to eat instead, so he got a job. So, but me, I grew up going to UCLA baseball games and all that stuff.
Wonderful.
Yes, my grandfather's been a fan of UCLA for a long time. Okay, so you went to
UCLA.
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I went through medical school. Before medical school, I went to community college up north, and then I went to UC Davis for my undergrad, and I was a biochemistry major. Early on, I know I wanted to do medicine, so I kind of geared myself towards going into the medicine route.
When did you decide, or when did you find out, what was it that made you want to be a doctor?
I've always wanted to help people.
Okay.
You know, it's such a cliche. But growing up in a third world country, there were diseases that people weren't dying from here in the United States. But over there, people were dying from, pneumonia or other infections. People are dying because they're giving birth, and that shouldn't be the case. So anyway, because I've seen those, and I know those things are preventable, I wanted to become part of the medicine because I wanted to extend help to those patients and make, people's lives better. So when I went to medical school in UCLA, I went through some rotations. Initially, I thought I wanted to become a general doctor, so like an internist, where you could take care of everything.
Okay.
But then I did a rotation in surgery, and I fell in love with surgery because when you do surgery, not everyone's the same when you open them up, basically.
Yeah.
So then I knew then that I wanted to have a little bit of a general medicine and combining it with surgery. So OBGYN actually provided that avenue.
Okay.
But then when I did my OBGYN rotation, I knew that I wanted to focus a little bit more on the surgery part of it. And so thus the gynecologic oncology. And now why cancer? Cancer because patients with cancer are very special. Not only are you treating them on their disease, you're also taking care of the patient as a whole. So the family members, extended family members, is part of the treatment. You become a part of that team as well, and so that's why I wanted to be a part of the cancer treatments.
So when did you get into the cancer part of it?
Part of it?
Yeah.
Early on. So when I did my OBGYN rotation as a medical student, there's many different specialty that you can go to. So you can either go to the infertility part of the OBGYN, you can either go to the pelvic organ prolapse part, and then the oncology part, or the pregnancy part.
Okay.
And I gravitated towards the oncology part.
Okay, and so what about it stood out? I mean, delivering babies seems like a really fun thing to do.
It is. It's a miracle of life.
It's a miracle. Yeah. So
it truly is. It truly is. But again, it's just the journey that you go through with your patients. So when somebody is diagnosed with, let's just say, ovarian cancer, for an example, I get to be in the operating room with them and take care of them, and resect whatever cancer they have. And then in the hospital, I see them every day after their surgery, and then after that I see them in the clinic. So as they go through their post-op follow-up, and then during their chemotherapy, I still continue to see them because I want to make sure that not only is their body tolerating the chemotherapy, I also want to make sure, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
How's your family? Most of the patients that I see are, of course, elderly, because cancer is common among the elderly patients. But again, it's treating the patient as a whole, basically.
Yeah. Again, we're speaking with Maria De Leon. She is the Assistant Clinical Professor, Division of Gynecologic Oncology. I'm combining those words. In the Department of Surgery. Her specialties are cervical cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, vulvar cancer, and vaginal cancer. So, again, go to cityofhope.org for more information. And so there's a difference, obviously, with dealing with. How have you adjusted to dealing with a different type of emotion when it comes to delivering a baby and dealing with these cancers and stuff? What about that stood out to you, to wanting to go down this road?
As you know, with cancer, it's a spectrum. Right? And so if you have the chance to cure somebody, and that cure is through doing the surgery for them, it's an amazing experience and also feelings to be a part of that. You're able to provide them the option of going through the surgery and then providing them with the cure. And also you get to be another spectrum where it's already too late for you to do anything for the patients. And as a physician, you may not be able to provide them with any management at all because it's almost too late. But just going through that experience with them and letting them know, I have patients who've gone through this before. I will be with you throughout this journey. And again, a physician is not only somebody who can fix something, but also somebody who can be there for their patient. And I think that whole experience, being as a cancer doctor, you are able to provide those many different,
Yeah, gotcha. So you were at UCLA. What brought you to City of Hope?
Oh, I met my husband in medical
there
school.
It is. There it is.
That's the Southern California.
So, City of Hope, did you apply? How does that? I don't even know. You recruited?
Yeah. So basically, I did. So after UCLA, I went to the East. So I went to Yale to do my OBGYN for 4 years, and then I did my subspecialty in Indiana. So I've been all over.
Good grief. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very different. Indiana's a little different than UCLA campus.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Winters were difficult, but anyway. So then, after I finished my training, I know I wanted to come back to California. Most of my family is actually in California.
Okay.
I love the weather here. I love the people. So then, because I'm a specialist in oncology, City of Hope is one of the cancer centers in Southern California. So there are many other institutions here, but City of Hope in particular, because they also do research in campus and also clinical trials for our patients. And I had the opportunity to actually work in a community where people needed somebody in the specialty that I'm in. So as you know, City of Hope, they have many different satellite clinics. So one being here in Santa Clarita, there's also in Mission Hills.
Okay.
And in Lancaster, which is the farthest one that we have, I think up north, if I'm remembering
north,
correctly, there is no OBGYN, there's no GYN oncologist there.
Okay.
And so the opportunity opened up for me to actually apply for that job.
Gotcha. Okay. And what about what have you noticed? Is it different at City of Hope than it is anywhere else?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Because
I'm really glad you said that.
because it's a cancer center, right? We have all the experts in that particular, and not to say that we only take care of patients with cancer. I'm going to touch base on that later on, but let's focus on cancer for now. So we do have our researchers who work on the science of, okay, how does cancer start? How can we prevent this? Is there a cure for this? So many drugs, many different basic science that we're doing. And then we're translating it to our clinical trials. So can we move on to, having patients try these medications to give them hope? By the time you get to clinical trials, you've already failed the standard of care, basically.
Yeah.
So there's another avenue of hope for our patients. And then you also have the experts of doctors that are giving chemotherapy, and they're all up to date of what's new. And then there's also our experts in radiation oncology.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have the experts of surgery. So all minds together in treating this one patient. And, of course, not one patient is the same, right? That's why I love taking care of cancer patients. Just because you have ovarian cancer doesn't mean that the previous ovarian cancer that you had is the same patient. It's all different.
Yeah. Oh, so I wanted to ask you about the research part of City of Hope, and what role do you play in that? Because I know there's people that actually, probably read journals and things like that. But,
yes.
And I'm sure you stay up to date on all of those things. But what part does these? Because you're the Department of Surgery, so what part?
Yeah.
What information do you give the researchers to help with the process?
Yeah, very interesting question. So basically, there are many different, like I said, there are many different avenues of doing the research. You could be in basic science, you could be in the clinical part of it, where you're translating whatever they have found out in the basic science. So as a surgeon, sometimes we do provide a size of fluid, cancer fluid, and then basically what they do, they can grow them in petri dishes, and then they can put medications on them to see if that medication can prevent that cancer from further growing. And then to also look at the molecular biology of tumors. So sometimes we provide actual tumors from actual patients.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys give the physical stuff.
Yeah, most of those studies are actually done in Duarte. Reason being is because our researchers are there, right?
Gotcha.
We have the facility to keep the tumors,
Yeah.
make sure that they're fresh and still able to do testing on them and studies on them.
Man.
But for us here in the community,
Yeah.
it's mostly translating what we've found in the basic science. So it's in the clinical part that we're participating in.
Gotcha. Which is good for those those individuals that have gone through different things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, this is the City of Hope show on your hometown station, KHTS. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get into really your area of expertise and different preventative methods and treatments and different things of that nature. We're speaking with Maria De Leon. She is can I just say doctor? It's a really long title, and I get nervous every time I see it. But she is one of the great doctors over at City of Hope. We also have Mandy Eggleseder over here as well. Quick break, more City of Hope show on KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located in Old Town Newhall, the CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go to canyontheater.org.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call the Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrocoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
There's a place where sushi lovers and lovers of Japanese food can both be satisfied. It's the newly remodeled Bonsai Garden. This landmark restaurant is under new ownership, a new look, and melt-in-your-mouth additions to their menu. Enjoy the freshest sushi in Santa Clarita for lunch or dinner. With a full bar, Japanese favorites, and all-you-can-eat sushi, you'll rediscover Bonsai Garden as a favorite place to dine. From tempura to the freshest from the sea, it's the newly remodeled Bonsai Garden on Soledad near White's Canyon.
Attention all Antelope Valley classic rock fans, the Doobie Brothers are coming to the AV Fair Saturday, August 19th. Tickets for the Doobie Brothers are on sale now at avfair.com as part of the Palmdale Auto Mall Concert Series. Ticket prices for the Doobie Brothers concert on August 19th range from $20 for standing room only to $80 Gold Circle and include fair admission. To see the entire lineup for this year's Palmdale Auto Mall Concert Series, go to avfair.com. Buy your tickets now at avfair.com to see the Doobie Brothers, August 19th. For all fair information and to buy tickets, go to avfair.com.
Doing right starts right here. At Union Bank, community banking is at the heart of what we do. From giving customers more convenient access to their money to financing their homes here in the neighborhood. Union Bank believes in acting locally. We also believe that investing in local businesses helps everyone. For over 150 years, Union Bank has grown strong one community at a time. We live here, we do business here, and we're here for you. Stop by your local branch today to experience the strength of community banking. There are 3 Union Bank branches conveniently located in the Santa Clarita and Antelope Valley area. To find your nearest branch, visit unionbank.com. Loan subject to credit and collateral approval. Financing available for collateral located in California, Oregon, and Washington. Fees and restrictions may apply. Terms and conditions subject to change. MUFG Union Bank N.A. member FDIC equal housing lender. Union Bank is a registered trademark and brand name of MUFG Union Bank N.A.
Hometown station. I can change the world. I'll be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. I am Kyle Jellings, and we are on the City of Hope Hour on your hometown station. City of Hope go to cityofhope.org for more information. We have Mandy Eggleseder here, and she is the Physicians Relations Liaison. You guys have some complicated
We
titles.
do.
Good grief.
I struggle saying that sometimes too.
Great,
So.
man. But we also have, I'm not going to try your title because yours is really long. But we have Dr. Maria De Leon here as well. And we wanted to talk, we got a little bit into your background, how you are a Bruin through and through. And we want to talk now about your area of expertise. And your area of expertise is, what did you say? You said it is the
gynecologic oncology.
Gynecologic oncology. And so specifically female
Cancer.
and different types of cancers related
Yes.
to females mostly. And so we wanted to talk about, specifically you wanted to talk preventative stuff.
Yes.
And so
We'll start with that, and
so
then
there's
we
some
can-
preventative stuff that we can do. And what are said things?
It's for, let me start off with the cervical cancer.
Yeah.
Cervical cancer, there are screening tests that we can do for our patients, and I'm a big proponent to preventative more than, rather than treatment when you have the cancer. So cervical cancer in particular, we do pap smears for our patients. And, for patients who live in Santa Clarita, they can either get it done from their local OBGYN, or they can do it with their primary care physician. If their primary care physician is comfortable enough doing the pap smears, they can have it done in their office. And it's an office-based testing, basically. They do the pelvic exam, and then they sample, basically, the cells in the cervix. And we can check for how, the cells themselves, and also for the HPV. So HPV is actually the number one cause of cervical cancer, and that you can test if you do the pap smear. And not all HPV is bad. So there's bad HPV, which causes, we call them high risk, which causes cancer cells, and then there's also the low risk, which causes your, what do you call this?
I don't know.
Not, benign lesions, basically.
okay.
Okay.
Warts, genital warts. So it's the high risk that we want to keep an eye on, okay? And so with the pap smears, if there's anything that's abnormal, then you take it a step further. You look under the microscope, so we call it colposcopy. It's also an, outpatient. Either your OBGYN can do it for you, or I can do it as a specialist. And so basically they highlight the cervix, and then they look for specific abnormal tissues, and then they biopsy it. And if the biopsy is precancer, then I can see you in my clinic, and then I can offer treatments for you. And it's precancer. It's not quite cancer yet.
Okay.
And so that's the best time to really treat the patient.
So pre-cancer, what does that mean with can you
just means that-
expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's actually a step before it becomes full-blown cancer. So
Okay.
you have the chance to actually intervene and prevent that from progressing further to become cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And when should women have this
start.
test?
Yeah. So basically, the current guideline is to start having pap smear at age 21.
Okay.
And then between ages 21 to 29, you can have just a pap smear itself, so looking at the cells. At age 30 and above, you can do the pap smear itself, looking at the cells, in addition to doing the high-risk HPV testing. And you do it depending on the result, you either do it every 3 years or every 5 years.
Okay, that was my question: is how often do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are, in the childbearing ages, does this come along with the OBGYN visits and stuff?
Yes. So women who are pregnant, they do get their baseline pap smear if
Okay.
they haven't had a more recent one. So again, pap smears, you do it every 3 to 5 years, depending on what testing it's being done for you. But one caveat, it's still very important to have your annual pelvic exam. So pelvic exam doesn't mean that you're having your pap smear. Pelvic exam is merely feeling around where your female organs are. So that's still recommended every year. The pap smear component of it, where you take out samples from the cervix, then that's between 3 to 5 years, or even
Gotcha.
more often, depending on what the result is.
Gotcha. Well, okay. So with the pelvic exam, what are we looking for?
The pelvic exam, so basically you're just feeling, so the ovaries are inside,
Okay.
so you're feeling, are the ovaries enlarged? Is there something that's concerning there?
Okay.
With the uterus, is there a benign tumor there, like a fibroid, which is common? And so you're basically feeling for anything that is different.
Okay. So with cervical cancer, what are the options there if you are diagnosed with cervical
With
cancer?
cervical cancer, so again, it depends. When we talk about cancer, it depends on what stage it is, right? And also, if it's early enough, we can do intervention doing surgery. So we can cut it off, basically. And then if it's advanced enough, then we can do chemotherapy and radiation for our patients.
Okay. And it just depends on the patient and different
Depends
things.
on the stage,
Stage,
yeah.
patient, all that stuff.
Correct. So then basically how we stage patient, we do our exams, right? So I do the exam in the patient in the office, and then I also order imaging test. So the imaging test will let us know, has the cancer spread anywhere else?
Okay, gotcha. We're speaking with Dr. Maria De Leon. She is the Assistant Clinical Professor for the Division of Gynecologic Oncology over at City of Hope. Go to cityofhope.org to learn more information, or just keep listening because we'll keep talking about it. But I wanted to ask you, what steps are you involved with the diagnosis? Are you, because you said you do the examinations, but
Yes.
and when do you come? Because you are in the Department of Surgery, so when do you come
Right.
into the fray here?
A very good question. So patients actually, they come to me with the diagnosis of cancer already,
Okay.
for the most part, because again, the screening tests are done by their primary care physician or their OBGYN. And so let's take, for example, uterine cancer, right? So uterine cancer patients typically present with, if you're done having your periods, you typically present with postmenopausal bleeding. So bleeding that shouldn't be there, but now you're having something else. And so then typically your OBGYN or your primary care physician can do a biopsy in the office. And once that biopsy comes back, if it's cancer, then that's when I meet you in my office. Or if they've been doing some of the workup, it's still not coming up with something, there's something wrong with you, I'm not quite sure what it is. Those patients are more than happy to see them in my clinic as well, so that I can do further workup for them.
Got you. And at what point is surgery a need? Is there steps that are taken beforehand that you guys take before you go to the surgery phase? And what are those steps?
So basically, we first meet them in our office,
Okay.
and then we ask them, how did this come about? How were you diagnosed? Are there any other imaging tests, biopsies that were done before? And then we do our exam. So basically, the exam, what we're trying to figure out is, how advanced is it? Is it still resectable? So as a surgeon, you always want to ask the question, is this cancer resectable? Because if it's not resectable, then there are other things that you can do. You can start chemotherapy first. Let's just take, for example, ovarian cancer. So ovarian cancer, if at the time of presentation the patient is still a candidate for surgery where we go in there and remove it, then we start with that, and then we follow it typically with chemotherapy. However, if the disease is so advanced that doing the surgery will definitely make the patient either stay in the hospital for a very long time or impossible to resect because it's in the area where it's in the critical part of your body, then we start with chemotherapy first, and then wait for those tumors to shrink, and then bring them in the operating room at a later time when surgery is a little bit safer to do.
And what types of questions need to be asked to decide whether or not chemotherapy will work on somebody, or if it is viable, or that's my question. So, is there a type? I don't know if there's certain things that a person needs to find out before they know chemo will work, or is there like chemicals in the body or something like that?
No, so typically what chemotherapy is, so chemotherapy is a systemic treatment for patients. So surgery, if you can imagine, it can only work where I put my knife on, right?
Okay.
So it's a local treatment basically for our patients. For chemotherapy, it's systemic treatment. And with chemotherapy, everything that we do is based on prior studies, based on prior clinical trials.
Okay.
So there's always standard of care that we follow. So depending on what kind of cancer you have, let's take, for example, uterine cancer. We know that with uterine cancer, depending on what type, we do have chemotherapy that specifically targets that type of cancer. So if you're not a good surgical candidate per se, right, and you have a lot of tumor already and it's almost too late to do surgery now, then we start with chemotherapy. With chemotherapy, we give you what is the standard of care.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
so we start with that. And then we follow it with exams and we follow it with scans. Make sure that whatever tumor you have in there is responding.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we're speaking with Dr. Maria De Leon. She is the Division of Gynecologic Oncology at the City of
Got
Hope.
it right this time.
Yeah, I know. It only took me 37 minutes. And I wanted to ask you again. Go to cityofhope.org to learn more. They are the building right across from City Hall on Valencia Boulevard. And you can talk to Mandy. Just give Mandy a call, and she'll give you a tour. One thing also that we should mention is if you have been given a diagnosis, you can always come to City of Hope for a second opinion, different options as well. One thing I wanted to ask you, we talked about the pap smear, we talked about a pelvic exam. Is there any other preventative stuff for people to know about when it comes to the type of cancer that you are over? Is there different types of preventative? Is there different checkups we can do? Is there diet things that we can do
Very good
to
question.
prevent it?
Yeah. Let's start with cervical cancer. Cervical cancer, we do have vaccines that's available, and vaccines is very important. Male, female, they can get it. Specifically for female, we can start giving the vaccine at age 9 up to age 26, because as you know, cervical cancer comes from, 99% of it is from high-risk HPV.
Okay.
So we vaccinate our kids now, and as early as 9 you can have it, and it's before it used to be 3 shots. Now you can give it from 2 shots.
Okay.
And you can get it from your pediatricians. So
Did you say, okay, so you said from 9 to
26.
26?
So let's just say, you didn't know about it and you're already 20-year-old or you're 21 years old.
That was my
so
question.
you can still start getting because once somebody is sexually active, you are exposed to HPV.
Okay.
Right? And so the question is, well, I'm already exposed. Can the vaccine still work? Absolutely. It can still work.
What is it after 26? What's the difference there?
For the 26?
Yeah.
Because it's a change in your behavior for patients. So
Gotcha,
when you're a little bit younger, there's this notion that you're a little bit more active, and so once
Gotcha.
you're in 26, you're a little bit more monogamous relationship. And also with that, HPV, as you know, it's a virus that causes cancer, but it's a slow progression of cancer.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. What other preventative stuff? You have the vaccine, but that was for cervical cancer specifically, right?
Correct. And I have to say, I want to highlight, the HPV vaccine is the only vaccine available to prevent cervical cancer. Only cancer that can be preventable is a cervical cancer.
how about that?
There's no other cancers that you can prevent by a vaccine.
Okay.
So very important.
There is a risk for males to get cancer with HPV through HPV as well, right?
Correct. And boys, I would say males, can get the vaccine too.
Okay, gotcha. What other preventative methods?
So that's a cervical cancer. Now for the uterine cancer, moving on to the uterine cancer. Uterine cancer is specifically sensitive to a hormone, estrogen, in your body. So living a lifestyle that is healthy definitely will prevent you from developing the endometrial cancer. Also diet, right?
Okay.
And then smoking.
So it's
There's
always smoking.
modifiable.
Every single type of cancer
Yes.
is related to smoke. Just don't smoke.
Right.
Don't smoke.
Don't start.
Okay, don't
Yeah.
start. It's not cool. All right, it's not cool. What other tips would you give in terms of diet? What types of diets do you think are? I don't know if this is like, doctrine or anything like that.
Right.
But is there different dietary restrictions that would help with
Not
this?
necessarily restrictions. I always believe in having a balanced lifestyle. Not necessarily if you exercise a lot and you eat meat, you love meat. It's okay for you to eat meat as long as you're exercising, you're staying active, and you're also balancing it with eating fruits and vegetables. It's always in moderation.
Okay.
So there's really no diet restrictions. Just eat healthy and then stay active. Those are the things that I would tell my patients.
So for your area of expertise, a healthy person is a lot easier to treat than a unhealthy person, so to speak. Would you say that is the case or no?
I have to say, patients are healthier. When they go through surgery, they do a little better, only because they don't have the other comorbidities that come along with patient that is unhealthy. So if you can imagine, if a patient is unhealthy, they're likely to have hypertension, diabetes, heart problem, lung problem. A healthy person may not have those. And so the complications when you do the surgery is much less for a healthier person, and they do recover faster.
Gotcha. Again, we're speaking with Dr. Maria De Leon over at City of Hope. Go to cityofhope.org to learn more. And any other preventative stuff that you wanted to make sure and mention?
Well, patients who have predisposition, if you have a genetic mutation, say for example, you have a family history of ovarian cancer or breast cancer, and your family that has the cancer gets tested, and they do carry a genetic mutation, you should be tested yourself, right? Just to make sure that you don't carry the same mutation. If you do carry the same mutation, there are surgical procedures that we can do to decrease your risk of developing ovarian or breast cancer.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, in terms of these types of cancers and having children, what is there, because you talked about ovarian cancer, if you're diagnosed, what is the age really for ovarian cancer, and is there a possibility to have children after that, or after being diagnosed and treated for it? What is the deal with childbearing and these types of cancer?
So for the most part, cancer, the patients that I take care of are in older population. Okay. The reason being is because with cancer, there's a theory that you have to have multiple hits in your gene. So basically, not just one damage in your gene, but it takes years to accumulate all of those mutations. And it's the mutations that all of a sudden, instead of telling your cells, okay, stop growing already because there's something wrong with you, your body can't recognize that there's something wrong anymore, and it allows it to just continue growing and also going in other parts of your body. That's essentially what the definition of cancer is. And so basically the patients that I see, they're already in their 50s, 60s, mostly 60s. So the average age for ovarian cancer is 63. Okay. And so most of the patients that I see in their 60s, and the reproductive part of it, they already have their kids, so it doesn't really come. For the uterine cancer, so a challenge if a patient is diagnosed with uterine cancer and she is still in the childbearing years, and let's just say for example she hasn't had any kids yet, right? Depending on what stage it is, so we do imaging, we do MRI, make sure that it's still an early stage cancer. There's no evidence that it's already outside in the lymph nodes or somewhere else, God forbid. And if she wants to have kids in the future, we can treat her with hormones, basically, to prevent the growth of the cancer. Now, provided the cancer is early stage. If it's not, then I would counsel the patient, hey, you're talking about your life here versus carrying your own pregnancy. So, and that's the beauty of it, because there are many different options that we can offer our patients depending on what stage they are in their journey.
Gotcha. Again, go to cityofhope.org to learn more. We're speaking with Dr. Maria De Leon, UCLA grad, which is good news, especially here in the Southern California area. And Mandy Eggleseder is also with us. And I wanted to we're going to take a quick break. We'll wrap things up, and then we'll have a little fun, if that's okay.
Oh, yes.
You actually don't have a choice. We're going to have fun anyway. But this is the City of Hope show on your hometown station, KHTS.
Do you see it? It should be around here somewhere.
No. What was that address again?
Your building sign is essential to getting customers into your location. Feathers can help get your business noticed. They'll walk you through each phase of your building sign project, providing special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will give you a sign you can be proud of. Your building sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Feathers on Soledad in Canyon Country, across from the Edwards Theater.
Getting a second mortgage is a big decision. And with all of the changes in mortgage regulation, it's also very time-consuming and paperwork-intensive. Fortunately, Loan Me has come up with a better way. You can get a Loan Me second mortgage look-alike for up to $100,000 in as little as a few hours, without a lien on a property. And you can use the money for all the same things a second mortgage is used for. Think about it. Borrow from $7,500 up to $100K with just 5 to 10 minutes of effort. And your monthly payment can be as low as $94.40. Compare that to credit cards or other unsecured lenders. And since the look-alike is not actually a mortgage, you don't even need to own a home to borrow up to $100K to improve your monthly cash flow, just like big corporations do with corporate debt. So call Loan Me at 855-60-PRIME for a look-alike today.
Actual terms depend on loan amount, credit profile, and ability to pay. California residents only. Loans made under Department of Business Oversight Finance, lender license number 603K061.
That's 855-60-PRIME.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
It's time to put the pedal to the metal. I'm Alan Taylor, host of The Drive, your source for all things auto. Broadcasting from the Peterson Automotive Museum every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on AM 1220 KHTS. Brought to you by your friends at Galpin Motors.
Hey Dodgers fans, check out the KHTS website at hometownstation.com. Get the latest news and sports happenings in our Santa Clarita Valley, find out more about KHTS shows and our on-air features, plus receive incredible discounts with our restaurant row certificates. That's hometownstation.com.
It isn't often when we see a company launch in Santa Clarita and become an international sensation. In 2010, Jen Gerard founded Whitening Lightning in her Valencia kitchen. Now it's a booming international sensation. Leading actresses and international models have switched to Whitening Lightning to avoid the mess, hassle, and sensitivity of other products. Whitening Lightning's simple Dial a Smile kit will dramatically turn your teeth whiter in just 20 minutes. Rediscover how white your teeth can look. Visit whiteninglightning.com. whiteninglightning.com.
KHTS. I can change the world. I'll be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. This is the City of Hope show on your hometown station. We're going to have a little fun here with Dr. De Leon. Mandy, you're off the hook for this one. But we have Mandy Eggleseder, and she is the Physicians Relations Liaison. And we also have Maria De Leon, Dr. Maria De Leon, and she is the Assistant Clinical Professor for the Division of Gynecologic Oncology.
Got it.
Mandy, I just wanted to give you the floor here for just a second and just maybe tell everybody where you're located and then the different services that you guys have to offer.
Yeah, we are located on Valencia Boulevard, right across from City Hall, up on the second floor. And we offer everything from medical oncology, hematology. We have infusion rooms, surgical oncology and general surgery, urology and urologic oncology, and then we obviously have breast surgery, and then Dr. De Leon and Dr. Lynn with gynecology. Now you got it on me.
Not as easy as it looks.
Gynecological oncology.
That's correct. Got it.
Oh man, it's a mouthful.
And so, Doc, I wanted to ask you, what is it, the overarching thing? What do you want people to know from? I know we got to know you a little bit about your area of expertise. Well, what is it that you want people to make sure that they know?
In summary, again, thank you for having us here, but I just really want to reach out to the listeners of this local station. Let them know that we're really just here. We're here to serve them. We're here to, we've gone through medical school for the longest time in our life, and expertise that we have, we do just want to offer it to patients who live here locally. We work hand in hand with, physicians in Henry Mayo. We do our surgeries there. With chemotherapy, they don't have to go to other facilities. We can have it here locally. The opportunity to stay here and be closer to their support groups, so they have families here. We just want to keep that for our patients.
And that's important. The one thing you mentioned was the chemotherapy here in town.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have to go through chemotherapy. It's another thing to have to go through it and drive some ways, right?
Right.
And
Definitely.
so that's certainly something that's helpful here in the Santa Clarita Valley. So again, go to cityofhope.org to learn more, and you can see the Santa Clarita facility. If you give Mandy a call, just give them a call over there, and she'll give you a tour of the place. If you guys have been diagnosed, you guys offer second opinions as well, and different options. There's more options out there, and even if it is you get diagnosed and they tell you the same thing, it's probably a little bit of peace of mind for you. So that's what City of Hope offers as well. So make sure you go again to cityofhope.org. Doc, this is what we call the KHTS Fast Five. Okay.
All right.
These are the 5 questions. We got to know you a little bit, but we're going to get to know you even more with these questions. Okay. And the first question I have is, what is the best single day on the calendar? The best single day on the calendar.
So it has to be a single day.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to
day.
be just a day in a week.
No, whatever single day.
I have to say,
This is.
is it a date or is it just
a date? Yeah, just a date. Yeah.
This is hard.
Yeah. You perform
There's
surgery.
30,
I'm asking you a
31
question.
days.
You perform surgery on a regular basis, and I'm just asking you a simple question. What day? Go. First one that pops in your head. Go.
Christmas.
Christmas Day. There you go. Perfect. All right. And this does need to be. This is the fast five. This isn't the sit and
Take
wait
your
five,
time
okay?
and think about
All
it.
right. What movie title best describes your life? What movie title best describes your life? First thing that pops in your head.
Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. That's also a good film. It's a great film also. All right. If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what rule would you make?
I would have to say spread positivity.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I asked my wife, what superpower would you want? And this is my wife. And she says, I would have the ability to raise people's self-esteem. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's not a thing. No, I wanted to hear. You make me feel like a jerk because I say I want to fly. Like same thing. I feel like a jerk. I would tell people that they have to wash their hands or something, right? And you're saying spread positivity. So I feel like a jerk. So thanks. All right. So, what would be some of the things? What would be some of the most annoying things about having yourself as a roommate?
I'm a clean freak.
Just FYI, that's a good trait to have as a surgeon. I just want you to know. That's a good trait to have. Okay, and finally, what is the most memorable gift you've received? Now, this is not the best gift you've ever received. What is the most memorable gift you've ever received?
That's a tough one. I have to think about it. But I have to say, it goes back to my childhood.
Okay.
It wasn't really a gift from somebody.
Okay.
I don't believe that it happened as a coincidence. But when I was 8 years old, we had a dog, and we went to church, and the dog followed, and unfortunately we lost because it wasn't in a leash. This is back in the Philippines, so it just kind of wandered around, and then he was lost. We lost him for about a year, and then one day our car was parked outside in front of a school, and then all of a sudden, like a dog was trying to get onto the car, and I was like, who is this dog? And the dog actually recognized the car, and I was like, and this is December, that's why I said, December 25. But the dog recognized the car and recognized me as the owner, and I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
But at this right place at the right time and the right everything.
Look at that.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Pets are like family.
They are.
That's awesome. Well, Doc, thank you for coming in. Thanks for stopping by. I
Thank you.
appreciate you being here. Appreciate
Thanks for
you
having
letting
us.
Have some fun at your expense.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for the information that you gave us. We appreciate it here at your hometown station. Mandy, always good to see you.
Always good to see you,
Always
too.
good to see you. Make sure you
Until
go
next time.
to cityofhope.org to learn more about the City of Hope here in the Santa Clarita Valley, right across the street from City Hall on the second floor of that building. So make sure you go check that out. This has been the City of Hope Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.